to my channel. Okay, so in today's video, a little bit of a different topic today. I'm going to be going over the signs and symptoms that you are having a chemical pregnancy. Now, I have had so many of these, and I've had 4 miscarriages in total, and quite a few of them were chemical pregnancies. A chemical pregnancy is a really, really heartbreaking thing to go through. So I'm going to go over the signs and symptoms that you are having one. So I'm going to be speaking from my personal experience. This doesn't mean that it will definitely happen to you. It just means that this is the sort of signs that I went through when I was having them. So initially, you have all the pregnancy symptoms leading up to your big fat positive, meaning that you're taking ovulation tests, you get a positive, you do the deed, you ovulate, everything goes as normal so far. However, when the sperm meets the egg, it then starts to divide and go down the fallopian tube into the womb and implant. Now, when the egg implants in your womb, it takes about 24 to 48 hours before the HCG levels show up in your urine. So this is when you'll get a positive pregnancy test and be like, oh my God, yay. It is super faint, but it is definitely there. So I've had 3 chemical pregnancies and 1 miscarriage, and they were all slightly different, but basically what happened was I would take a pregnancy test and it would come up faint, and I'd be like, oh my God, this is so exciting. I'd take one the next day and it would be kind of the same darkness. I'd take one the next day and it would be darker than the first one. So I would get that initial HCG rise, and then as I carried on taking tests from then on, the HCG level would slowly fade away and I would go through a miscarriage. It's really awful because the only way I can describe it, and people say to me like, oh, well, it's, only a few cells, or it's only just, you're only just pregnant. Like, that's not as bad as what other people go through. And of course, but a miscarriage is a miscarriage, and whatever stage you are at, it is heartbreaking. The only way I can describe it as is like you get given something and you're like, oh my God, this is what I've wanted for so long. And then they're like, oh, no, sorry. And they take it off you. That is what it feels like to have a chemical pregnancy. You get that positive pregnancy test. Oh my God, I'm pregnant. I'm so excited. You may go through some frequent urination and frequently feeling sick. And then all of a sudden your symptoms start to fade away and you're like, oh, what's going on? And you take a pregnancy test and it comes back a hell of a lot lighter than before. And then you take them and it just gets slowly lighter and lighter until the line disappears and then you end up bleeding. So when I started bleeding, 2 out of the 3 miscarriages, it was so painful and I bled so bad. Whereas my last miscarriage, I believe, wasn't quite as painful. So it does differ in pregnancies, but your chemical pregnancy is still valid. It is still a pregnancy that you carried. So don't let anyone else dismiss what you are going through at the moment. The good news is that you can carry on TTCing as normal when you feel up to it. I gave myself about a month or 2 to kind of let my body get back on track, and then we started TTCing again. But you may not be ready to do that, and if you are not, then that is completely okay. And on the other hand as well, if you want a TTC right away, that is okay as well. You can say hi. You can say hi. So keep up your spirits, guys. Please do message me if you are going through a chemical pregnancy or a miscarriage. So I mentioned that I went through 3 chemical pregnancies and then my 1 miscarriage. A chemical pregnancy is 5 weeks or less being pregnant, and a miscarriage is 5 weeks and onwards. So when I fell pregnant the second time, my lines were getting really, really dark and I was really excited, and my sickness, oh my God, was so bad. And I thought, I've got really good symptoms and my lines are really strong, my HCG levels are really up there, and this is going to be really good. Unfortunately, I had a scan at around 9.5, 10 weeks to show that the baby had stopped growing at about 6 or 7 weeks, and there was no heartbeat, and my womb was bigger than it should have been for the gestation, and the baby was smaller than it should have been for the gestation. So unfortunately, that was Christmas Eve, and I had to go through the whole of Christmas and New Year's going through that, knowing that my pregnancy wasn't viable anymore, having to have a D&C, and then having to have a D&C, and then I got an infection, and then I had to have another D&C, so I had to go under general anaesthetic twice in 1 week. But I do hope that this helps, and hopefully one day you'll get a lovely little scrummy one like this. For anyone who is new to my channel, she is my third baby. I have 2 boys and now my little girl. So yeah, I hope you did enjoy this video. I hope it did bring you some comfort, and I'll see you in my next one. Say bye, ladies. Bye, ladies.